Hello, I spotted something really exciting this morning that I can't wait to show you. I was walking under this archway and I spotted my first actual little baby birdhouse gourds. How cute are they? Now the flowers on here are amazing. All of the other squashes all have yellow flowers on them. So when these opened and these were these beautiful, delicate, ornate flowers, well, I just cemented them being on my grow list every year. Gorgeous, aren't they? And when I came out, I did actually pollinate these, but they only last a day, the flowers do, so they've already gone. And these plants are so prolific. 2 plants, one each side of the archway, and they are producing so many vines. And wait till I show you what's going on in the polytunnel a little bit later on. Now the excitement is echoed all around the vegetable garden. Everything has grown. It's been a mad explosion of growth since we had a lot of rain, 30 mils in fact, last weekend. So much so that it's getting a little bit jungle-like to walk up some of the paths. But that's July, isn't it? That's what the vegetable gardens are all about in July. Masses of growth, masses of things to harvest, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. A little bit of everything, whatever the garden needs from me today. And I'm also going to be showing you what I'm using the wash house for, because I haven't shown you what's going on inside the Victorian wash house for a while. But the first job I'm going to start with is supporting these sweet corns. Jungle mode is most definitely activated. And while I'm standing here, I am absolutely loving these leek flowers, and so are the insects. They're absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, we've got some tassels coming now on these sweet corn. Honestly, just cannot get over the growth in just a few days. Now obviously it's not just the crops that go wild when we have a bit of rain, so do the weeds. And I'm finding myself spending quite a bit of time as a walk around, just pulling a few weeds out of the path. These are all those little jobs that we don't show, but we all do. Another new development this week has been the flowers here. Now, I planted these as globe artichokes, but I actually think this is a cardoon. That bee is loving life on it there at the moment, and it hasn't even opened fully yet. Now, if you compare that to these flowers here, these are more like what I was expecting to be a globe artichoke. So I'm pretty certain that these are globe artichokes, and these ones next to it. But yeah, I'm thinking that's a cardoon. Do you agree? Now this is only my second full growing season. I started in summer of 2023, and those first 2 summers were actually cold, wet summers. And that's my only experience. So it's been quite different for me to see how a hot summer is affecting different crops. Last year and the year before, I was inundated with French beans, and obviously I've assumed that the same was going to happen this year, but actually I haven't had a single French bean yet. And I'm wondering, is that just me, or have you been struggling with your French beans as well? Because I really want them. They're one of my favourite crops. But there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because we finally have a few flowers coming on the purple podded French beans here. So hopefully I'm not going to be made to wait too much longer for them. And walking under this archway here, which is another pumpkin archway, they've also exploded with growth. They are almost touching the top of this archway as well. And last year, none of the pumpkins even got 2/3 of the way up the archway. So this is really new territory for me, and it's really exciting. Obviously I can't show you those pumpkins without showing you the ones in the compost bin, because you remember me saying that they weren't doing much. Well, look at them now. I'm really impressed with how they've done. And I'm having to keep tucking the edge of this one in, because if I just pan around, I want the robot mower to chop the end off the pumpkin. He seems to know what he's doing though. He doesn't seem to be into violence. I'm not sure it's healthy to talk to him and tell him he's a good boy when I watch him mowing. Now, whilst my July vegetable garden is making me wait for French beans, it is not making me wait for courgettes. In fact, I am being a little bit too lax on picking them. But again, I think that's probably weather related, because last year they did not grow this quick. You only saw me harvest some last week. And, well, looks like I should have looked at these a little bit sooner too. And that's not the only one. Because if I move these leaves back here, Look what I spotted hiding this morning. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that is not a courgette anymore. That's a marrow, isn't it? Absolutely bonkers. Everything that I planted last week seems to have taken okay and coped with the weather. And I'm pretty certain that I've got some radishes ready as well. Ooh, wow. Yes, I do. I think I'll have another one just for tea tonight. Ooh, lovely. My patty pans did not look like this at all for the duration of last summer. No patty pans yet. Although if I look this way a little bit, you know those early French beans that I planted? Well, they are not happy at all, are they? I don't know what's eating those. A big job that I keep doing in July is pulling all of the pods from the sweet peas. But I actually think I'm fighting a losing battle. These have really not enjoyed the hot weather that we've been having. It looks more like the end of October when you look at them than it does the middle of July. And that's been something of a disappointment because the sweet peas were super wow last year. I had high hopes that because I was growing them on both sides of the archway this year that these would actually meet in the middle. But how wrong can you be? Because apparently I've learned that sweet peas don't like the hot weather. But luckily the gladioli are very happy with it and they are starting to put on their own show. Another little thing I'm sorting out are these climbing French beans. I think these might actually be blotty beans on this side, and they have really taken off again this last couple of days, so they've obviously enjoyed some of the rain, and I'm hoping that I can make them find this netting and they'll climb well up here, because at the moment they're a little bit of a tangled mess. Now, another job I've not been looking forward to is having to thin some of the apples on these apple trees. They're looking so good. They've grown so much since they were at the tiny fruitlet stage, and I did take quite a few off when they were that young. But some of them do have some blemishes on them, so there's no point at all in leaving them on the tree and letting the tree use its energy to grow something that I'm not going to eat anyway because it's heavily blemished. So I'm going to be taking that one. Oh, it's painful. But by contrast, this one here is looking absolutely perfect. So that one gets to stay, and look at the size of it already. I am really hopeful that I'm going to get some really nice apples later in the season. I'm also going around and having a little look at the leaves, and any with a bit of fungus on them, I am removing them. And obviously I will be cleaning these secateurs before I move on to the next tree. The one tree that I've not been looking forward to taking any of the apples from has been this Eric's Rainbow, but many of these are blemished, so unfortunately they still need to be chopped as well. As much as it pains me. I mean, look at those. I can't leave those on. Some of those geese have got the right idea, haven't they? Just lie down in the shade and chill. Now, obviously, things we don't want to grow are also in abundance in July, like weeds. You saw me sow the beetroot in this bed on the 24th of June, and there wasn't a weed in sight when I sowed them. And look at it now. It's a bit of a shock, really, isn't it? I've had to leave it until this week to do the weeding because I actually couldn't tell which were weeds and which were beetroot this time last week. So getting these cleared away will make me feel a little bit happier when I do my morning walk around of the garden. Just weeding down this side of the bed, and I saw the telltale signs of caterpillar damage on this plant here. So I've just had a good look around it to see if I could find any caterpillars, and I have. There is a caterpillar here on this leaf, and he's a pretty big caterpillar, and I assume he's only just moved onto that leaf because there's no damage on that one. So I'm sorry, mate, but I'm going to have to take you off there. And that's another thing we have to keep a check on this time of year. It's not perfect, but it's certainly looking a lot better than it did about 20 minutes ago. Now, before we head into the wash house and I'll show you what's going on in there, one of the places that's had the biggest transformation in the last 10 days is probably the Polytunnel. There's lots of jobs to be catching up on in here, and I say catching up, they're jobs to continue doing, such as the side shooting of the tomatoes, but exciting things are also happening in here as well, and I really wanted to show you. Now, last year's excitement with the Polytunnel was all about the loofahs, and that still stands. I really want to grow these loofahs again. I've been using the sponges in the kitchen and the bathroom all through the year, so I really do need another supply to get me through the next 12 months. But things in here are exceeding all expectations far earlier than they did this time last year. So obviously that's another product of getting more sun and more heat. For example, look at these Arava melons. These are absolutely enormous. They did not grow this big anywhere near this early last year. And I'm really pleased with those. The plant is looking super healthy as well, and it's putting on loads and loads of fresh growth. Now, it's not the only Arava melon. Look, there's another one on this plant here, and this one is enormous. It's a bit further on because it started to get that mottling effect that these melons do get on their skin. I've also got my first watermelon coming here. Now, this is the first year that I'm growing watermelon, so I am really excited to be seeing that there. And if I come further down, you can see that the cucumber plants are doing really well. I have harvested a few only yesterday, my first harvest from these cucumber plants. This variety here is called Bella. It's growing a bit of a funny shape because it's been resting on the top of the halo. And moving along to the next one, this plant is a Carmen cucumber, and these are really long, straight cucumbers. And there is another enormous one here that I absolutely neglected to see. In fact, I think I need to go and get a harvest truck shortly. But the things that are really taking over in here are these sweet potatoes here. I mean, look at them. The growth on this in the last week is absolutely ridiculous. And as well with this is another birdhouse gourd. Now, I wasn't sure if we had a cold summer again whether they would cure enough outside, because they really need a long season to properly cure so that the birdhouses can be used as birdhouses for several years to come. So I put one in here, and as you can see, it is taking over. I keep cutting off some of the vines to try and limit them, but we do have clearly pollinated birdhouse gourds on here as well, and for that I can't tell you how excited I am. Look at it, it's so cute. And I think I've counted 7 in here. I mean, if you just look up there, there's another one there that's not quite as far along. And then right up here, there's several more here as well. So it looks like everyone's getting a painted or varnished birdhouse gourd for Christmas this year to go with their loofah soaps. Look at that little pest there. But the main event in the Polytunnel this week are the first ripe tomatoes in here. We've been eating the house tomatoes and the Aztec yellows up until now, but tomatoes in the Polytunnel, this is amazing. This variety here is called Sweet Cassaday, and I had the seeds for these from Kerry at Dog on the Plot. And I think I also had the seeds to this one here, which is a black strawberry from Kerry. I thought they might be a bit darker than that though. And as you can see, there's more on them ripening as well. This one here is Artisan Blush Tiger, and this is the one that I'm really excited to try because apparently it tastes like honey. So I'm not going to waste any time taking those off. Oh, that one's fell off as well. That's such a pretty pattern on that one. Now, these aren't ripe yet, but look at the size of these. These are Rebel Starfighter Prime, and my sister grew these last year and they didn't grow that big. I'm really impressed with those. Duncan, being a Star Wars fan, is actually really rather excited about that variety. Got a couple of these red alerts ready. I mean, that one looks probably about the right size. And although these are ripe, what's that? What's going on with that? That's so funny. They are absolutely tiny, aren't they? Now, this one here I'm finding a little bit confusing because this is a purple Cherokee. I had the seeds from Jane at Jane's Growing Garden. I expected the tomatoes to be quite purpley, but this is not a purple looking tomato at all, is it? So I don't know why they call it purple Cherokee. Oh, I broke the top off it. I haven't brought that with it. But it definitely seems right because it is very soft and squishy, although it is quite green at the top. So I might just leave it on the windowsill for a couple of days and see what happens. These are my biggest tomatoes. Look at those. They are absolutely enormous. Might have to tie that branch up actually to support it. But this is Dr. White's Yellow, and I'm loving the funky shape of these ones. These are called Sunrise Jazz. There's even bigger news in here than just having ripe tomatoes though, and that's the fact that these tomatoes have hit the top of the polytunnel. And you know, I'm 5'4" and this is probably over 6 foot tall here. And these really do need topping. Most of them have set 5 trusses already as well, which is pretty much the maximum. I didn't top the tomatoes until the middle of August last year, and I felt like I did it fairly early then, but I don't know what to do. Do I try and extend the supports for them and let them go a little bit further, or would you top them early so that you know you can get these crops out of here early enough to get the winter crops in? That is really something that I can't decide what to do for the best. Now, whilst I'm in here with the smallest tomato harvest, I may as well get those cucumbers off. Oops. I don't know whether that'll be okay, whether it'll be quite seedy inside because it's gotten so big, but it's enormous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, I've got it. Wow, that's another one. It's much bigger than I expected it to be. Now I can see a problem here. This one has grown up through the string that I've used to support the cucumber to the actual paracord. I'll have to come out with a knife tomorrow because I'm pretty certain I can't get in there to undo that knot at the moment. And that's something that hasn't happened to me before, and I really should have noticed that. We'll just add these radishes, and I don't know whether to call it a courgette or just call it a marrow. We'll add those in as well. All right, let's go and have a look inside the wash house because there's been a few changes since you last saw it, and I found a use for it. I have to say the wash house is proving to be quite an integral part of the garden, and I'm just loving having it. I'm loving having it, and there's still a lot of work to do with it, and hopefully all that will be coming in the next few weeks. And one of those jobs is going to be the external landscaping to the building. So this is what I wanted to show you. I've been using this to dry my garlic on. I did have to put a little bit of mesh on here to stop them falling through, but it seems to be doing a really good job. It smells very garlic in here, but everything seems quite happy. There is actually some furniture in here. Now these are just some really old wardrobes that we found. So the plan for in here will be to put some shelves in. I have tested that the mushroom crates will fit on shelves in here. So obviously I'll be able to store some onions, beetroots, things like that in here. I'm going to be putting some mesh in the floor of here and in the back for ventilation, but also it'll be rodent proof. And I'm hoping that that will work. The most exciting change though, since you've last seen the wash house, is having mains electric put in here. This is a double outdoor socket. Not ideal at the moment because the robot mower is plugged into here. That won't stay in here long term. It's going to have its own socket eventually. Having mains power so I can either charge my phone, charge things like the Strimmer batteries or these Pronabo shear batteries has been absolutely priceless. So pleased that we opted to have that job done. One of the big jobs that I have wanted to get done is something with this window, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with that yet, so I am looking for some advice. You might be gardeners, but you're also potentially very good at DIY. Been working hard to free this catch. If you remember, the catch was jammed and it is now free, and I can now push the window open. But if I bring you around this side, I'm really not sure that we can save this window frame. The bottom part of the casement is absolutely rotten, and I'm just not sure whether it's worth trying to do anything with this or whether we should have a new window made. So that's why I've not done anything with it yet. I have had another little artifact to keep in here, and I absolutely love it. It is a little copper trowel. I won't be using it out on the garden. I'm going to keep it as an ornamental because I think this might be the cutest thing that Duncan has ever bought me. It was our 22nd wedding anniversary the other day, and apparently copper is the traditional gift to mark a 22nd wedding anniversary, so Duncan has bought me this copper trowel. Absolutely love it. So thank you for that, Duncan. I still have a lot of jobs to be getting on with out in the garden, and I'm sure you do too, but Duncan has just arrived and it's about to get very noisy outside. I'm really excited for what we are doing next, and I cannot wait to share that with you, but that's a story for next time. So until then, look after yourselves. Bye.